on behalf of Littoral Communications, I, being one of the platinum sponsors of this seminar, welcomes you all to this esteemed platform. Today, I would like to take this wonderful opportunity to talk you through to some of the very valid and important aspects of maritime studies in this global industry. I would be highlighting some of the key facts, features, demands, needs and emerging trends that I have perceived through my time as an ex-mariner as well as an entrepreneur now for almost a decade in the field of maritime education. And I feel the need to put them forward through this esteemed platform in front of you all with a hope that can bring some change and adaptation to the ever-reforming section of education. Some of the key challenges in the space of global maritime studies, as far as my experience in handling an esteemed marine institution myself, are, first and foremost, the problem in understanding and gauging the fact among candidates themselves with respect to not only targeting a rank or a certification, but also equally focusing on their knowledge orientation, result enhancement, and improving performance standard on board as per their competency and experience. What I mean here is that a rank certification surely gives you a job eligibility, but knowledge with respect to practical application of subjective and theoretical aspects along with performance standard enhancement has a potential to give a candidate job survivability. And if any professional aspires to have a successful, reputed and ever-growing career in any industry, then one needs to work on these fundamentals as well. Second, the nature of maritime jobs which are majorly contractual, thus always demanding a candidate to take a difficult decision between his financial implications and career growth graph. And as we all know, human behavior in such difficult times is more often than not inclined towards managing the financial aspect first, whereby sometimes, even if unwillingly, but the candidate has to succumb to his career-oriented plans. The gap in studies, lack of availability of study groups to candidates as per their needs, consistent pressure to perform in limited available time in order to manage their growth and finances regularly are some of the byproducts of this problem. Third, least liability of a student's result orientation after his said or taken up course at a particular institution is finished. Now this leaves a candidate more isolated than one can even imagine. He has practically no assistance available in condition of his failure. You will be surprised to know, gentlemen, that DG exams have a passing percentage at levels around 20% all clear candidates over a period of last 5 years for their first attempt. The figure is self-verifiable with results readily available on monthly basis on a government portal itself. Now on one hand, this may describe the difficulty level of our competency examination, which is great to hear. But on the other hand, it also makes us aware of a harsh reality whereby almost 80% repeater candidates are left with a need of some kind of assistance which unfortunately is not readily available, considering sometimes their remote locations or sometimes their finances to manage readmissions for assistance, or as told, the contractual nature of jobs in the industry which leaves them without any group study atmosphere as well. Next, scarcity of proper guidance. Yes, a lot of circulars, notices are served regularly by our competent authorities for various intimations at different times through its portal. But sometimes, maybe due to different structural barriers and sometimes probably due to the global nature of this industry, which restricts access to such notifications during a candidate's time on board, it does become difficult for them to reach these notifications on time. This deformity and lack of timely updates and guidance often leads to lack of planning, creating another unwanted hindrance in a candidate's path to success. Now I understand there is a limit to government structural policies and implementations. But what I'm trying to say here is that there should be some middle way which should be thought upon to serve the candidate better in these tough times and should be worked out by other reformers and torchbearers of this industry. Certainly, I would like to be called one such parallel who through my institution is trying to the best of my capabilities to bridge these gaps, and must say have been fairly successful by orienting over 2,000 competent careers into this industry for almost a decade now. Lastly, there is at some level lack of global perspective and approach. Ours is a globally enriched and connected industry. Over the years, the culture of limiticizing the aspect of impartment of education through limited channels is now seen to overlook the general growth orientation of the mariners at large. There are very few universities and institutions offering research programs and opportunities in maritime studies, covering a wide range of maritime subjects including ever-evolving automation, shipbuilding, maritime law, commerce and management. The industry is large and welcoming in terms of global reach and opportunities, and closely met with acceptance of global culture and also heritage at a lot of ends. But lack of educational outreach and opportunities often limits the span and options of a full-fledged, ever-growing career in our industry. That being said, I believe there is never lack of government policies and regulations. Our more than competent authorities and bureaucrats are always up to the task and put in the hard yards in the best possible manner to benefit the industry and its people. What needs to be worked on though is the implementation and awareness part of it. That is where the actual problem lies. We need to work together as an industry at large rather than only individuals to sort this one out. Here, I would like to put forward some suggestions that might be useful in this regard. We can make an effort to put all the important latest updated notifications, policies and amendments on our individual platforms, whether digital or at corporate levels, for all our candidates and associates to refer under due allowance from the concerned authorities. Probably develop an in-house system within the industry, collaborating with executives from different platforms and diversified networks, which may allow and follow a trace, track, read and spread kind of a structure to make the reach of some important notifications, updates and policies more rapid and large. Conduct various awareness programs and free webinars as per today's changing times, probably by incorporating some fixed pre-decided schedule locally at our institutions and companies whenever feasible, whereby a discussion on the recent amendments and concerned to candidate policies may be carried out, also utilizing the same platform for their inputs and perspectives, which might turn out to be important at some level for future policy and regulation requirements to meet immediate needs of our mariners. Well, here I must have to add the most reforming and probably the most thoughtful development and policy implementation that has completely changed the overall outlook of our maritime examinations in recent years by digitizing the entire process of competency examinations along with various sub-processes. The authorities and policy makers have to be thanked and their never-ending efforts appreciated from bottom of our hearts, as this has really ended the long and persistent problems of all our hard-working mariners. Also, this more or less proves my vision of a collaborative effort to serve and grow the industry at large, and a similar effort today is needed to improve our training and future growth modules to the best of our capabilities to probably put Indian mariners back at the forefront of the global maritime industry. To achieve this vision of ours, I feel there is a need of both futuristic approach and consistent evolvement in our present setup. Any industry's growth and global developmental contribution in the longer run depends on the quality of training and quality of its professionals at large. To achieve the best in what is available, we need to bring out the best in every individual serving at every level within the industry. And this prospect should be inculcated from the very start of the corridor of entry into this field itself. Hence, Our pre-C institutions have the most important role to play in this regard. The habit of achieving excellence is one that should be a part of training modules from the very start of one's career. Now I know every time effort should convert to result is more a myth than reality, but nothing should stop us from putting in this effort consistently for the larger good of our industry and more so for the consistent benefit of our fellow mariners. Here, I would like to put forward some suggestions with my personal experience and time spent with thousands of mariners at my own institution itself. First, an adaptation of conceptual learning rather than only focusing on passing an examination will benefit the overall growth of a candidate. Second, focusing on practical application of the subjective knowledge by sharing extensive and detailed experiences of related onboard incidents could work wonders in an individual's visualization and understanding the set topic. Third, relatable format of study whereby quoting examples of real life and common incidents that can help a candidate relate to a concept or its application by making one of his own experiences can prove to be path-breaking and never to forget kind of a module, thus enhancing his learning to another level. Next, for me, future is always byproduct of how we adapt and analyze our present. So, to be torch bearers of this global industry, we need to first accept ourselves that we still have a lot to improve. Improvement is not always a negative function or acceptance of our flaws, but sometimes, if thought upon well, it is also a desire to achieve something beyond one's full potential. And thus, it is only viable to keep on acknowledging deformities or deficiencies first, so that our future course of action accordingly may be more clearer and in motion with the changing times and approach of our ever-evolving global industry. In this post-COVID era, which somehow has given us an automatic acceptance to digital platforms of learning, can prove to be game changers if handled with expertise and willingness to adapt by incorporating all my aforementioned pointers and collaborating them with today's technology and digital media graphics, thus enhancing the visual experience of learning and making the study probably more interesting and intriguing. To start at a first of these many futuristic approaches and adaptations required in our field, I think our candidate from the very early age into this industry must be taught and made aware of various upcoming projects, programs, research works and commercial upgradations of the industry to give him a larger view of their future career orientation rather than majorly following a set normal of gradual rank upgradations and limited sailing perspectives. It may not necessarily be a part of their exam-oriented curriculum, but still in some way included in their tenure at the institutions just for information and general field knowledge enhancement. You never know, we might get some real researchers, policy makers and reformers out of them in future, which might have a potential to change the dynamics of our industry in various ways. Now, just for the record, we all must be aware of the ambitious Sagarmala project, which was launched in March 2015 by our competent and development-loving government, considering the strategic location of India, whereby maritime industry alone handles 95% of the trade by volume and around 70% by value of our country. The project is envisioned to port-led development and growth of logistic-intensive industries. The project is expected to cost a whopping $123 billion as per the initial estimates and create an impressive 4 to 6 million jobs, direct and indirect, with opportunities in the diversified fields of port modernizations, new port developments, port connectivity enhancement, port-linked industrialization, and coastal community development. it is also expected to contribute in a massive 4% GDP growth of our country alone. Taking this forward, a deep ocean mission program was passed in the cabinet in June 2021 to boost research exponentially in ocean and allied areas, and soon followed up by an inland vessel bill which was passed by Lok Sabha in July 2021 to boost domestic cargo movement at potentially lower rates. Point being, a lot is there to discover, learn and experience of our experienced field executives, probably which may enhance their entire vision towards this industry and promote their interest among varied sections, thus helping them in their long-term career building apart from the general norms and preset structures of our field. We at CMG have taken this into account, and probably you will be happy to know that even with our result-oriented approach and consistent focus on performance standards, we still make sure to talk on these sections with all our candidates in whatever time possible to enhance their skill set and vision towards their goals above and beyond their short-term task of competency examinations. And even with this minimal effort, have guided over 30 mariners in past 3 years to train in the field of architecture, shipbuilding, maritime law and management, and they are successfully serving the industry with their recently acquired new skill set with better prospects and visions with utmost satisfaction and newfound zeal. Now, to achieve all the preset goals and approaches, I believe virtual learning has a huge role to play in times to come. Though I must not say that it is a new platform of learning, but surely it has evolved to acceptable audience in recent times, especially in post-COVID era. Virtual learning brings some negatives on the table, like loss of that one-on-one touch, which is a plus with offline modules of study adapted and followed for years now. Also, it becomes difficult sometimes to keep a track of a student's actual learning and grasping when he is attending sessions through a virtual platform. And yes, it is a lot more demanding in terms of establishing a similar kind of connect and tuning with the student, which almost often comes naturally on an offline module. But on the contrary, it has a lot more positives attached to it as well, like the reach and accessibility of your platform is increased by leaps and bounds, especially even to candidates residing in remote locations. It potentially cuts down the cost for both the organizer and the attendee in terms of a large offline setup for the organizer and lodging and boarding arrangements for the candidates. If dedicated and committed towards the idea of quality learning, then the modern tools, technology and graphics have complete potential and even more adaptive processes to impart your knowledge to the listener in a similar environment as the offline module. And more importantly, in today's difficult times of pandemic, it is surely more safe and secure form of learning without compromising much on time delays and quality of education. Because of these major positives, it surely is turning out to be the way forward in the ever-reforming educational sector. And obviously, our industry is not any more immune to this new normal. Hence, adaptation and involvement is the only possible outcome. Also, I feel there should be some training modules for virtual learning platforms to be made available for better connect and guidance for a current set of faculties and trainers as well, for their platform upgradation to the usage of modern tools and their maximum usability in sync to our style of teaching over the years. And this should be done for maximum usability and long-term betterment of the candidates. Such trainings may be organized at authority levels, institutional levels, and inter-institutional levels as per the requirements and available time slots in between the current modules and schedules. The virtual learning being the more and more acceptable and easy to connect kind of a platform saving time, effort of application, being cost effective at both ends, and with ease of more reach and accessibility is surely here to stay, and thus all the more necessary to develop an ecosystem where not only candidates but also our respected educators collaborate together in order to create an environment of compatibility and acceptance whereby growth and consistent result orientation remains our primitive focus. We at CMG realized this at the very early stage of the pandemic and transitioned ourselves at the first opportunity as early as a month into the pandemic itself. The result of this early transition was that we reached back and soon beyond the pre-COVID levels with our institution in terms of strength, results and revenue, with our platform's feedback in itself doing the talking for us at all places. Our candidates were more than happy with our virtual learning setup and reviewed it as being in all ways similar to the offline setup and hence very adaptive and easy to connect in all perspectives. Now, to improve the educational requirements of the industry and especially Indian mariners at large, an atmosphere of collaborative learning through platforms other than only approved when needed by candidates should be promoted. I think it is high time we accept the fact that education is a diversified and need to assist based kind of industry in itself and should not be limited to only few institutions. In fact, I believe approved institutions have a large role to play in bringing this industry where it stands today and also in times to come. But the space is so large and so varied that a coexistent kind of an atmosphere for parallel educational resources is the need of the hour. It is for the larger good of the industry and also to keep up pace with the ever-changing time, especially considering the industry is high on global connect and hence competitive in its own way. Here, I would like to conclude by quoting one of the famous American activists, Sir Martin Luther King Jr., who once said, "Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education." And that is exactly what we wish to achieve together in times to come. I'll leave you with this great thought, gentlemen and ladies. Thank you for your patience and time. Wish you a good day.